us.
Yeah.
We know it, I know. Good, how are you?
She'll get you one. She'll get you Wow. Get the fancy one?
You gotta get the captain's chair on this one.
If you wanted to bring up there, I don't care where you wanted it.
I don't care.
Wherever.
Still, Johnny doesn't like to sit there and doesn't like to take on fire. I know.
She keeps getting all the calls.
And we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to a meeting of the Stanford Select Board. If you have a matter to discuss that is not included on the agenda, you may do so by addressing the chairperson and stating your name and address. You will notice that all our meetings are recorded, and this is to aid with the summarization of the minutes. Visitors are welcome, and we allow 5 minutes of comments per visitor and 15 minutes per topic. Discussions will be held in a common, civilized manner and respectful of others. Select board members present are
Mike Ganal.
Nancy Brashika.
Doug Wright.
John Dunn.
Will there be any adding of items to tonight's agenda, Lori, or removing them?
Additional correspondence just came in.
Will there be any adjustments to the agenda, such as changing the order of items? You okay? And, just to let you all know that Jeb is recording the meeting. Well, video recording the meeting. And this is not through the select board, it's his own personal website, YouTube?
YouTube.
YouTube, okay. I know that stuff. Okay. First order of business is open mowing bids. And we only received one bid. Mowing to be done at the school, $170 each time. This includes mowing, trimming, and cleaning off clippings, and spring cleanup to be done prior to mowing is additional $500. Do you want to wait and discuss it later, or?
What is the $500? I guess we could discuss it. I'm just curious what the $500 entails. And obviously the lawn in the front, but there's trees too in the back that are down, I'm understanding. Like in the soccer field, there's some trees. I wonder if that's included in that.
Well,
I think he just picks up what in the past, all he's done is picked up where he mows, so if
Yeah.
something's in the way.
he wasn't here, nobody was here for the pre-bid. And I would like the ditch along the fence line cleaned up, that's full of,
Yeah.
large limbs, broken dead limbs, but I
Last-
don't know what's down in that.
Last year he cleaned the ditch, I don't know if he cut trees.
Well, I'm just curious, cause last year you charged 300,
Right,
so it's an increase,
right, and the mowing last year was,
170.
was the same, 170?
Yeah.
Okay, good,
I don't think you're gonna find someone to do it cheaper than that.
We only have one bid, right?
yes,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
In the past, it was done by our road crew, but they've been out grading.
Yeah, we just,
You did like, you haven't done this cleanup in 2 years.
more than that, cause Rich was doing it.
Oh, okay.
Since Rich is.
You haven't mowed lawn since I,
No,
We've
he's
never
never
mowed the
mowed,
lawn.
never.
Even the yard cleanup, we haven't since the schools had a janitor.
Oh, what? Oh,
We
more
did
like a
previous-
full-time,
Yeah, since we've had a full-time.
yeah.
Was he weed like the ditch?
I know he
He's
brings like
supposed to, because it's along the fence line.
3 or 4 guys, he brings, he hammers it out, he's here probably 2 hours.
Do we have his insurance? Did he submit his insurance with this? Seems we only have one bid. I'd like to accept it, but we need to see his proof of insurance or other paperwork that he's self-employed. Make a motion, or do you wanna discuss this out later, or?
No, I agree with you, Nancy, that's, yeah, you need to be insured.
I get in the camera.
Should have, cashed it with that.
You wanna make a motion to accept it as long as he shows us the insurance?
Right.
there's more in here.
I missed something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'll make a motion that we accept the bid as long as he shows us proof of insurance.
Yeah.
I'm good to say.
Oh, yes. Alright, all in favor?
Yeah, alright.
Alright,
Yeah, I don't know why you said.
I'm upstate.
Four.
I looked at it.
So as soon as the insurance is here or the proper paperwork, tell him he can begin. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
One in front, 2 seconds. That one, and then initial with that.
Hearing of visitors, the first on the agenda is Martina Barnes from Green Mountain National Forest. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. I'll stand up just because otherwise my back. Do you mind holding the map or? Hi, everyone. Some of you I know, it's been a little while, it's been a little while since I've been here. I'm the district ranger on the Manchester Ranger District, and, we thought it was a good time to just give just a brief update on some of the activities happening in Stamford. A lot of them are more timber related and, forestry related, so I'll most likely soon pass it over to Josh Wills and Stacy Stratton, who are staff on the district. But, yeah, just wanted to, we'll leave this map with you, but, yeah, we, as you know, I've been here before with our law enforcement officer, Colin Fisher, who actually retired, lucky man, the end of December. So we currently don't have a permanent law enforcement officer on the Manchester Ranger District, but we will be filling that position hopefully in a few months. But, Colin, if he doesn't answer his phone, that's why. He's out enjoying life. Yeah, so just wanted to highlight a few items on the recreation side. The old Seth Warner shelter on the ATLT was removed, and a new Seth Warner shelter was completed back in I guess in 2023. Little further, and here's the location. We were seeing a lot of unauthorized use by illegal ATV riders and not necessarily taking the best care of that shelter, so the decision was made to relocate it, and there's a privy or like an outhouse as well as a shelter that was newly constructed, so if you're ever interested in checking it out, it's there, it's been built. So that's in Stamford, and, wanted to, not on this map, but the, our forest fire management officer asked me to mention that we may be doing a prescribed burn in Woodford, which I know is not Stamford, but close by, on, near FR 273, close, so yeah, in Woodford. It's about a 41 acre, parcel, and tis the season for prescribed burning right now before the green up, so, if the weather conditions permit, we may be doing that burn here in the next couple of weeks, so, you know, we have a system to notify the fire wardens in the towns who are in the town and the surrounding towns to let you know, but, that would be for wildlife habitat enhancement, like a wildlife opening type burn, so that's potential, you may see, just a heads up, if you see smoke, that may be why you're seeing it, but we'll let you know. So yeah, those are, and then really the other things on this map are primarily timber related, and then if there are questions, let me pass it over to Josh and or Stacy.
Is that part of the Young Forest Initiative, the burn?
The burn, no, not that I know, is that in partnership with, the state, that's.
Well, I didn't know if it was a federal program, or, I know the state of Massachusetts does it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that may be, I mean, it is not that I know of, but, it's just part of, if we're able to, and it's dry enough, and before the leaf out, we try to do as much prescribed burning as we can, and usually April, May, sometimes June, but it's for the benefit of wildlife habitat, but as far as I know, not.
They're permanent wildlife openings.
Right.
That are down near, like, I think it's what the ATV parking lot is.
It's essentially what the Young Forest Initiative is, just openings. to
Yeah,
create
they're
young,
openings,
you know,
I just don't know
younger
that.
forests
That's
from,
exactly-
0 to like 12 years or
Yeah.
something like that.
Just one of the many we maintain on forest.
But I was just curious.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll pass it on to, and then if there are any questions, other questions,
So,
here, I'll hold it.
well, otherwise, we just have a series of timber sales, so up here it's mostly in Stamford is Camp Casino. I would say that's about 85% done. They'll probably finish it up if we have a winter next year. And then,
Is there a new road to the camp?
they're up
What was that?
over here.
Is there a new road up into the camp?
Well, there've been some improvements to it, but not, I wouldn't say it's a new road. But
You can drive a car to it,
yeah, you probably could,
That's new.
but
yeah.
I think,
Ish.
there was a gate on that road,
There's
I
still a
think it's
gate.
still there, so.
I haven't been up there in a while.
Yeah. And then the other ones we have off Roaring Brook, or the Cardinal Brook sale and the Roaring Brook sale, those are sold and active, I mean, not cutting right now, but they've been purchased. And then we have a future one over here, the Meadow sale, it's out a few years, there's no work done yet. And then also, I just went off the Roaring Brook, we have been doing across the forest treating ash trees to just conserve genetics, because I've done trap trees in Stamford on Roaring Brook, and I found EAB, I've treated about 15 trees to just try to conserve some genetics. We have that done, so if you're out there and you see some tags on it, they're hopefully holding on and fighting off the EAB, and you can have ash after the killing front comes through. And then, just a little bit left, there's the Broadbrook sale that's just barely partially in Stamford as well, and that's been sold, but no one has harvested it yet. So, that's kind of what we have going on timber-wise. Any question?
Have you guys found a fix for that ash borer yet?
No, I mean, they have some like native, I mean, not native, but they have some like biological control, you can release bugs, but they have issues overwintering and, reproducing. Yeah.
You gotta really do a number on ash trees.
Yeah, so that's why we've been trying to, and we'll have to retreat these trees every 3 or 4 years.
What do you pump propane or something to the base?
There's some insecticides we use, imidacloprid, and we pump it into it, and the amount you put in depends on the size of the tree, so it's bigger trees are more expensive.
It just seemed like it started showing up in this immediate valley right here, just within the last
So
year.
yeah, I treated some there, I treated some over in Pownell, and then working up through Somerset area. So we've been working, because it came up in Massachusetts, so we've been trying to focus on the southern half of the forest and move forward. So. But yeah, no control otherwise. Just try to save some where you can and hope it keeps reproducing.
It's definitely seeding.
Oh yeah, no problem doing that, it's just need the trees to still be there.
Oh, let me see, I see.
I noticed on your map, you still have some parcels that are going to be transferred to National Forest. They haven't sold yet, they haven't closed
Yeah,
yet.
not yet, yes, exactly, there's the Roaring Brook or Roaring Branch, yeah, there are still two
Okay.
proposed, yeah, that's.
So when that happens, about how many acres will National Forest own in Stamford?
Good question, I don't know off the top of my head.
2/3.
I know the current is, yeah, it's like 18,000, I wrote it down actually, I know currently it's 12,203 acres, but that's according to the payment and taxes database. So, yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, I'll find out and let you know.
So just looking at that, it looks like, maybe half a stamp?
It's roughly half.
half.
I was exaggerating on it.
Well, I think it was gonna tip the scales and go more than half.
It's probably a little bit over, it's like 52.
Yeah.
What is Stamford half on 22,000? Anyway, so that would be that. Bill?
Are there any plans to make the new Seth Warner shelter any more accessible for emergency response?
It's a pretty,
Yeah, I know.
tough way to get in there, yeah,
And
it's
it's
pretty
a real
remote,
long
which was-
time to get in there now.
Yeah, I don't know of any, I have not heard of anything immediate, I mean, yeah, but it is,
Designed for primitive setup, so,
yeah.
Well,
long hikers,
as long as you bring your primitive first aid, you're
they're long hikers.
Yeah, I mean, I can ask, but I have not heard that, I think that was part of their, sort of, it was intentional a little bit to put it.
I know
in.
late last summer or fall, the fire department attempted access with our 6 flag, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah,
How did they start? Did they go off the Risky Ranch Road or,
yeah.
and then
Go county.
county?
I don't know, where'd you guys move it? Because it used to be off of Whiskey Ranch.
I would go in county by the high pension line and just hoof it in from there.
You can come and look at the map here, right,
Cool. I
this
think
is,
it's
yeah,
after
too
you
big.
cross Risky Range.
This is too,
I think it's
small scale, like,
across from the,
Get on the high pension lines, probably, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile across Risky Range Road. That's the old one.
that's the old shelter, yeah, it's,
But you went
The other is further into the wilderness.
Yeah,
went
further
southwest,
further
right?
down,
You went
more
down
toward
to Pownell.
Pownell.
Further down,
yeah, it's,
Out there.
yeah.
Thank you.
it's.
What's allowed in there for a vehicle?
Nothing, it's the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah, it's the Appalachian Trail, so.
Oh, that's the Appalachian Trail?
Yes,
I saw it about when the fire department was trying to get in, you were trying to get in on the Appalachian Trail?
Yeah, for an injured hiker.
So again, I'll ask the question, in emergency, what's allowed for the vehicle?
2 feet.
You're
Well,
not
I
gonna
don't
get
think,
in there with.
I don't think you can't, it's a narrow trail.
Yeah.
It's a donkey trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a tough time
Donkey
walking.
trail to the
So
west.
my Argo wouldn't go up there with tank tracks?
Well, no, I'd be in the winter
Yeah.
time,
I mean,
Somebody
yeah.
go for it, you got the carry all.
but. Right.
It's a carry all.
They're
Yeah.
long, most of them are long hikers, they're ready to
Most of
roll.
that trail is like that anyways.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for an emergency.
No, at this point, our best response is our gurney that has a single wheel
Yes,
That's how narrow it is, huh?
with a team of 4 or 6 team.
just different type of forest wilderness rescue, basically.
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Yeah, no.
questions for you? Are you speaking too?
Yeah, I was gonna go over a little bit more, sorry, Stacy Stratton, the timber manager, and I probably have met some of you here before, maybe not, it's been a while. So like the Roaring Brook sale and the Cardinal Brook sale, there's probably gonna be some summer harvesting on that this year, and that's, Kennebec Lumber owns those, so they're planning to go in there and try to do some harvesting when it dries out.
Did they start harvesting there last year?
They did, and then they got kind of pushed out in that flood and the road washed out, so we're gonna try and, I think we've got some, we're probably gonna try and fix that road up a little bit better, you know, for people to get in and out of there and, so yeah, so that's the two sales that are going, I don't see any plans for Maltese or Broadbrook. So, the other ones do have summerwood, in them, but, there's a Dutch Hill show one here, no, probably too far.
Yeah.
So Dutch Hill's another sale, you know, it's kind of on the edge, that Hunter Excavation also owns that one. They've got 5 sales on the district they own. Well, they purchased and are operating on. Just wanted to know about the summer stuff that's in there and, you know, in case people come in and recreate or whatever, you know, there's gonna be signs and we'll try to, you know, be a lot better about contacting the neighbors, you know, when they're coming in. Like I said, I contacted them before, but then over COVID, everyone's kind of sold their houses and people moved in and they just didn't get passed on to them that there'd be a log truck going by their house, so. I got a lot of phone calls, so I got some new things to do, new people to contact, so.
So it's basically going up Mill Road and then up 264?
Yes. And it's probably, you know, probably all going east, that's, I think the Kennebec Lumber's in New Hampshire. I think it's kind of where Hunter's been kind of going east and then up 8 to 9, then wherever he goes from there. So if anyone's got any interest, even if I've always come down here when I've worked here and dropped off sale packages, but if the town's interested in knowing, even though we don't have any more planned sales down here to sell, if they wanna know when we're operating, or they wanna know the rest of the towns in Vermont that we have on the district where we're harvesting, if you just send Martina an email, and I can put you on my list, and you just get an email with a bid letter on it, and if you want more information, I can send it to you electronically, if anyone's interested. We try to do everything electronically now, so a lot cheaper on stamps and letters, and by the time you hear about it through snail mail, it's probably already 2 weeks along. So, there's not much time to react, so, and this map here, like Martina has, you know, it's available, we can send to you electronically, so if you wanna put it on your website, or you wanna print it off someplace else, if somebody wants it, we can send it. And I think a lot of this probably is, I don't know if you've heard of Avenza, it works on, your cell phone or tablet, and it's just a GPS system, it's free. And, like, I think that map is probably, if you put this on your phone, you could probably navigate with it.
Dave, how's our roads up there? Because we only go up to Tim's, we're not even that far.
Well, it's a trail, part of it's a town trails that you're talking
Yeah, that's
about.
right, yeah.
I haven't been up there in a while, so I really couldn't tell you.
We walked in there this spring, and, you know, and that was, you know, the spring, and there's still snow and ice in there, but, road wasn't in too bad shape last fall, but it's still not perfect. It's amazing how much water comes down that road, and we just fixed it up to spec, you know, to all our specs, and then it's all washed out, so. It's amazing how much came down through there.
There's no other questions, are we all set?
These sales, is that just lumber?
Well, there's pulp and saw logs in there, you know, whatever they need to do, but yeah, so yeah.
Just lumber?
Yes, yeah, it's, the timber sales.
Yeah.
So we offer those like this district, you know, this town and, you know, was it, 3 or 4 months, you know, this is all of, you know, land that we accrued, was it from, the North Adams Water District?
Yeah.
And so as you know, this area down here gets a lot of snow and a lot of ice, and so a lot of these stands were high graded before we bought them, and so the health of them is pretty poor, so that's what we're trying to, you know, reestablish.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for
What are
looking
you
at that.
doing over there?
Yes. Yeah, hold on, I'll take it here.
Okay.
Oh, thanks.
All right, and I'll get back to Lori on some of the follow-up questions. Okay, thank you, welcome, good to see you.
Probably sleep out that way.
Okay, good seeing you out there.
Sneak out that way.
Have a good night, thank you.
Thanks, good to see you,
Thank you.
thanks.
Appreciate it.
Any other hearing of visitors?
Big crowd, awful quiet.
Dave?
I'd like to discuss, what happened at the last planning board meeting, when we tried to reorganize. The only people we had available to show was the vice chair, the chair had resigned. And when we tried to put it together, it ended up being a lot of controversy in terms of motions made and then motions being made behind it. The end result is, we ended up in 3-3 split, so nothing was done. But one of the things that was brought up during the meeting, and I'm still befuddled how it was done, other than through ex parte communication, was to have the select board ex officio become the chairman. And I felt, for a variety of reasons, that wasn't a good idea.
Well, Dave, that was my idea.
That's fine.
Just clearing up, you said you didn't know how, so.
No, what I'm saying is, a lot of people seem to be aware of it, so I don't know how, and what came out of that, meeting was that somebody had called the VLCT, and they said, that it was okay.
I wrote to them.
So right off the bat, I have an issue in terms of being on the board, that anybody calling anybody, especially legal, is a board decision, not an individual decision. And I can overlook this at this time, but whether I'm on the select board as chair or whatever, when people need to get information, that's a board decision.
Different people in town
Let
are
me-
authorized
can I-
to call the VLTC.
Can I finish, please?
Wait, Dave.
I really need to be able to speak without being interrupted. Before,
You're not being factual. There's
Look.
different people in town that are authorized to call the VLTC, it doesn't have to be a board vote.
I'm talking about for the board, for somebody to talk about the board without the board voting on it, I think is a problem. But let me,
Sure.
I would like to somebody to expound on why they think the VLCT says it's okay, because I got an awful lot of information that says it's not.
Would you
Okay,
like me
well,
to
I
speak
don't
to
think
them?
we need to argue this here.
I'm not arguing.
Well, discuss it here,
Yeah, why not?
because it's more of a planning commission.
I mean, the VLTC are the lawyers of the people you go to for legal advice.
Right, and when I did my training for a board training, I understood, maybe I'm out of place, but I understood that I could ask legal questions. And they gave me their address to ask any questions I had, and so I did. Am I not allowed to ask the VLCT legal questions?
It's my understanding that, I agree with Kurt, it's my understanding that we, for informational purposes, we can ask questions to the VLTC, I can call them out, ask questions. A decision cannot be made, of course,
Right.
unless you go to the
No, I
board.
just wanted to know, I wanted to
Yeah,
know.
it's just, it's a tool, almost like an internet tool, you can just go on, we just did a training session, and there's a website that we were told that you can go on, and we don't have to ask a board member to go on, we can just go on for informational purposes, just to get educated on the subject matter. Then when you go to your board, and you talk to the board, you can give that information to the board, and they can hear it. As far as the select board being a chair, I don't even know if you're, are you even going now, or, I mean,
Yeah, so.
but I don't know if you
For
you
a
stayed
while, I
on.
didn't think I was gonna be going again, and then last meeting, unless I misunderstood what we decided here, is that I was still gonna be the ex officio and
Right.
still go
Okay.
to the board meetings.
I think we were negligent, we didn't make a motion, we just
Right,
continue going, Kurt, and
so I mean, you can
Should
name up
apply.
to two ex officios if you want to, the way I understand it, as this board, you could name someone else as an ex officio to the planning board if you wanted to. So the question was posed, as I see it, to the VLTC, can an ex officio be the chairman of the board?
That's how
It was basically a simple question, and the answer was yes, there's nothing to say that they can't be. That's the advice that legal gave, they're the legal advice to the town.
Then,
So I don't know who else we would go to for information if we can't
Well,
get factual information.
then I would say, And just as a select board member, I would say that I would agree with Nancy then, if the answer is yes, and VLT says it's yes, then it's a planning board decision to vote on, not the select board.
Right, exactly. So I really personally have no skin in the game whatsoever. I thought it was a logical thing for this planning board to do, because it's almost beneficial that I'm a non-voting member in the situation. I can just manage the meetings. So they can go on in an orderly fashion, which they never do. They're a scattered-brained mess at these meetings. And anyone that went to the other day for the first time can attest to that. I'm just trying to keep order and functionality to it. I don't see any conflict of interest at all. I'm not gonna vote on that board, so I don't see the conflict.
Including this vote, you wouldn't be able to vote. If they wanted to
I
bring
can't
this
vote
up,
anything to do.
if Lisa made a motion, got a second, and it was legal to do, you wouldn't be
I
able to
didn't
vote for
I didn't
yourself.
vote the other night. So it was three.
So I'd like to finish my, I don't know why you got off on this tangent. I'd really like just to finish what I have to say.
Kurt, but you can, as a member of the board, ex officio, you can still offer your opinion, discuss things along.
Yeah, I could
Along
have
with
all the
the
input,
order.
I could, if I was the chair, I would just manage the meeting, and I just, basically put whatever's on the table, and the voting body would vote for it.
And your opinion, you can offer that too, or your expertise.
I mean,
or insight.
there's even argument to be made now, and I didn't know this before, that the ex officio can even vote. I'm not asking to do that, because that I believe would be a conflict if I'm voting on two different boards, but I'm not. I'm only gonna be voting on this board. I'm just
How
trying
many
to
members
manage.
do you have on your board?
We have 7, but I just need to clarify. We're rambling here. I just want to get my point across.
I thought you were finished, okay.
What do you mean? I didn't even get to start. Oh, jeez.
Okay.
So, let me address what they're saying is that the VLCT told me to do it. Can a select person also serve on the
They
planning?
is me, just wanna clarify.
Excuse me, please.
No, I just wanna
Can I
clarify, the
finish,
they
please?
is me.
Okay.
Let me finish, please, and then you can have your say. Can a select person also serve on the planning commission or a zoning board of adjustment? This is research I did years ago when I was on the select board and whatever. Adjustment Development Review Board, select person can serve as the administrative officer. The answer is yes, yes. There are not statutorily incompatible offices. However, holding these dual positions presents multiple opportunities for the appearance of, as well as an actual conflict of interest. While most of the conflicts discussed below are direct personal conflicts of interest, a select person, a direct financial conflict of interest can also arise in a town where the select board sets compensation for town and office. There are a whole array of reasons why the select board is an ex officio. So let me just read this little part to you here.
What year was
Let me
this-
finish,
What year
please.
was this stuff?
This is all up to date. A planning commission shall have not less than 3, no more than 9 voting members. All members may be compensated and reimbursed by the municipality at necessary reason. At least the majority of the members of the planning commission shall be residents of the municipality. The select board of a rural town, which we are, not more than 2 elected or appointed officials of an urban municipality are chosen by the legislative body, shall be non-voting ex officio members of the planning commission. So that's up to date, that's, you can look it up yourself, 24 VSA 44322. So, just to carry this out a little further, when we had our select board member on, Dan, for a long time, he was on the select board as a member, and he was also a voting official on the planning commission. At that point, I felt that huge conflict. We were doing the town plan. He was giving input for the planning commission, then going to the select board and voting on it. You can't legislate in one group and then adjudicate in another, and they're very clear on that. And I blame the VLCT in the state of Vermont for this, because in one breath they're allowing it, but in the next breath they're saying very clearly, not recommended. The statutes of silent select board also serve the zoning board of adjustment and development review board. Therefore, a municipal assistance center considers the practice permitted, but does not recommend it because of the following possible scenarios. So if you wanna take the time, Kurt, to read the laws, as Vermont annotated from the VLCT and lawyers, it clearly says they don't want it. It makes it convoluted. And not only that, once you become chair, you're an automatic voting, it's automatic.
No.
Oh, yes, it is.
No, you're not.
No, look, out here, let me,
No, you're not.
but if he becomes
Hey,
chair,
you wanna know the
I don't
last thing
wanna
the
argue
BLT
with you.
said?
Well, you are,
You
Nancy.
wanna know the last thing the BLT said? After all, it's the planning board's decision to make. It's their
I'm
board
just
to
reading,
vote.
I want you to understand where I was coming from, that I wasn't talking in the wind. People accuse me of blowing the board.
Sheila was on both boards when I
I'm on
became a
both
member of the
boards,
select
I mean,
board.
Everything we do in this town is some level of conflict. We live in
Sure.
a town of 800 people.
I've read the conflict of
I mean,
interest
everything we do
rules,
is
and I
in
can't
conflict.
be town clerk, I can't be treasurer, so I can pretty much be on every other
And we
board.
have two zoning board people on the planning commission.
Right, so you can have, because we're a small town, we don't get volunteers, although we get a lot of volunteers.
We got 9 people on the board, so
But,
I'm just
you
trying to do
actually
it.
mentioned,
Go ahead.
you actually mentioned that you don't want to be a voting member.
No.
When the board, when this board appoints that board, that's what, that's the authority we do have.
Mhm.
And we also have the authority to remove. We have the authority to appoint or remove. When we do that, we can set any stipulation we want. We can say you're allowed to be chair if you're voted in, but we don't want you to be a voter. We could do that. I'm not saying we would, I'm saying we could.
Yeah.
I'm also saying that I truly believe that, and I guess what I'm looking at right now is what do you want from this board? at
right,
this
I
point?
want to address your comment where you just said that. If he becomes a member of the board, voting, and then the select board decides to remove him, all he has to do is say no, because you have to have a complete vote of yes on your board.
I'm not gonna vote.
Well, excuse me,
Please, understand what I'm saying here. You have to have a unanimous vote on your board to remove the chair. If you allow him as a select board member to be chair, he just votes no, you can't do it.
Right.
And what that is instant
That is
lawsuit.
true.
okay,
Instant lawsuit.
That is
Dave,
true. It
didn't
has to
you
be
just-
unanimous to remove.
didn't you just read that an ex officio is not a voting member of the planning commission?
Yes,
Well, why are you saying he's voting? He can't
because
vote.
once he becomes chair, the chair has to vote because they're the tiebreaker.
Look, look.
I'm just being
we're killing
honest
a
with
lot
you.
of time
Look it
here.
up. Don't take my word
We're
for
killing a
it.
lot of time
Don't
here.
take my word for it.
Two. I wanna do it because I think I'm the best person for the job to do it.
Good for you.
Period. The board can vote however they want,
Okay.
alright? If they don't want me to do it, fine, I got plenty of stuff going on. I don't need to do it.
Nobody's
I'm not
questioning
doing
your
any of this
ability.
stuff for me, Dave. That's what
Kurt,
people
nobody's
can't
questioning your
understand.
ability.
I'm not doing any of this stuff for me, alright? None of this is for me.
Kurt, we've worked together on boards for
So-
almost 20 years.
What I would like,
That's it.
what I
That's
would
the
like to ask
bottom
one
line.
question.
It's
I'd
not
like to
against
ask, one question to this board. If any board that we appoint has a tie of, so you said there's a tie on this vote of chair,
Yeah.
okay? Because there is no chair, so no one's there to break the tie.
But some moral is not
If,
the meeting.
if there is a tie, what do we do from there? Is there,
It shouldn't be though,
There
because
should-
one member was missing.
So we
There's 7
proceed.
members
Oh,
to
okay.
begin with,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
there
then we
should
put-
but there could, someone could say I abstain, don't wanna vote.
The
don't wanna-"
chair generally
Sure.
makes the
Okay.
deciding vote.
Okay,
We proceeded because, I suppose we could just proceed as Sheila being the ex-vice chair and, as a temporary chair or whatever until the vote's decided about,
The rationale
I
behind,
won't let it go on too long, I'll just.
the
back off.
rationale behind that, Kurt,
I'm
was,
just doing it because I think I'm the best person for the job that's on that board, that's
You
willing
know,
to do it.
I think you're very
Not
good.
everybody's willing to do
I
it.
don't know if you're the best person, but
I
you're
think,
very
Dave,
good.
you brought this to our attention,
Okay.
but I think it's a planning commission decision.
Well, it's your
I'll stand by-
decision too,
I'll-
because you put
I'll
the
stand,
ex
I'm just
officios
gonna say,
on.
I'm gonna stand by our motion that we did last week, or we didn't do a motion. We just implied, Kurt, please be ex officio.
Yeah, I was away from all of it, that's what I do.
I do have, I still have a question. Because of Dave is correct with the vote, and Dave is correct with this vote. If we remove any board member, it has to be unanimous. We can't remove we can appoint, but we can't remove unless it's unanimous. I know that. So when there is a tie, and the chair has to break that tie, and you're not a voter, how do you do that?
If the chair has to break the tie and I'm a non-voter,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't,
I mean,
and
we've had,
that's why I'm bringing this
I
up.
mean, we've had meetings before with
No,
8 people
there's-
at them, we've had
there
meetings
would only be
before with
6.
6 people at them. How do you break a tie with that?
Right.
You
I mean,
can't,
you
you
don't-
don't.
So tie doesn't pass.
You just
Well,
don't move
A
on.
tie doesn't pass,
Well,
unless
you
it's a
don't-
vote for a definite vote for like a.
We have a
Well,
7-man board, you can't.
You only have to
Alternate,
have
you
4
can't
votes,
tie.
right? You have to have 4 votes.
Right, you can't tie with a 7-man board. It convolutes the
Hurts eight.
chairman being the select board member when he's supposed to be ex officio non-voting. Do you understand what's going on here, Bill?
I don't.
So can we just
Yes.
move on
Okay.
here and
Yeah.
go to the planning commission and just try to work together?
Oh, we are.
That's why
There's
you
7
wanna
votes.
be on the planning commission, it's certainly not for the.
7 voting.
Oh, okay. I thought he was gonna be the 7th.
No.
Oh, see.
No, he's,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we
Oh,
should
okay.
run into a conflict.
I understand.
It became a very hostile meeting. There was a lot of things said that shouldn't have been said. I
Without
urge,
a chair, you can't get it.
I urge you to listen to the tape recording of the meeting.
Oh,
Then you'll
okay.
understand why I'm here.
So without a chair, you can't get it back in the line, but someone wasn't there, correct? So there will be a
Someone
break.
wasn't there. And my reasoning is because I think Art wouldn't have drawn the meeting back together, it was chaotic, and we need a stable, calm force in that room.
There's three new members. You know. So, like I said, whatever, I don't do any of this stuff for personal gain or, some kind of acknowledgement or anything like that. I just think I'm the best one to manage those meetings. I'll step away from the whole thing if that's what people think is the best thing to do,
Onward.
which, I wouldn't think that'd be a good move, but I'm fine with whatever. I got plenty going on.
Thank you, Kurt.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Any other hearing visitors? All right, reading and approval of records and orders.
Motion to approve.
All in favor? Road conditions, letter of intent to participate in grants in a program. Where is this, project going to be? Grant and aid.
We haven't had them come down yet.
Okay, just saying we want to participate, yes.
This is just the initial,
Sorry.
yeah, right. Saying that we're gonna participate. Nothing has been set up.
And there's no guarantee that we would get a grant. with
Oh, we
this.
will.
Oh, we will? Okay.
On this one, yeah.
But we don't know.
They've already pretty much told us the amount of money we'll get, right?
Yeah, I think it's already preset.
So then I have to pick a project.
You can pick after the grant.
We're 20% local match, which I'm sure you figured out that we have enough money and,
Yeah, normally our time covers that.
Right.
Our time and equipment, so we don't end up putting money into the project, realistically.
but you have, you
We
have,
typically end up taking money in on these type of projects,
you have an idea where you're gonna do this and right?
if he approves it. I don't wanna say he's not gonna approve it.
Okay. Can I have a motion, or I signed it already?
Yeah, can I just look at it?
Yes, sure. Sure.
You should get a response back from DD, right, before I send it.
That's it.
And, we have a letter
If you don't
to,
hear it in a few days.
came to Lori. You guys have a copy?
Yeah, you got an
Yeah,
email,
things-
some chicken scratch on it,
Yeah.
can't really see
Dave,
it.
And I just said,
You're familiar with the letter that somebody wanted you to fix their culverts, but you said it's their own culverts?
Yeah, it's their driveway culvert.
So we should send them a letter saying it's their driveway culverts.
Says Dave needs to assess the problem.
It takes a little time, but you can, once you say, oh yeah.
It was crossed my line there.
I've spoken with this individual a couple of times, he was not happy with
When you
Give me
draft
my
a
business card, you
response to
can
them,
pass mine.
Lori, can you also attach the part of our ordinance, driveway culverts? And, like, I mean, we don't,
Where it said the town installed
Yeah,
culverts,
that's what
that's
I-
not the culverts, right?
that's
it.
what
Not
I'm just,
driveway culverts.
No,
that's what I was just gonna get to, how,
that's not the
yeah.
problem,
We don't install people's driveway culverts.
right?
That's their access, it's their responsibility if it wears out. It says installed and forever maintained by the property owner in our highway ordinance, so.
Okay, so we attach something like that to.
Matter of fact, we can say, hey, fix your culvert.
Yeah, we could.
Yes.
Yeah, especially if it's washing off the road.
It's not, it's on a paved road and the water
I'm
typically,
familiar with the.
you know, kind of goes around it.
There you go.
Doesn't cause a trouble, so.
Right.
Try not to cause people
Oh, yeah,
hardship,
yeah.
but in this case, they're trying to get us to do it, so I guess it's on them now.
Dave, what else do you have on roads?
I do have the sweeper coming at some point, but this has been a problem for years now of, you know, scheduling. They schedule but don't show up.
I'll let you know one day.
So it's kind of, yeah, I'll get the day or two warning and then I'll know for sure, but they were supposed to be here the week of the 15th, so we're past that.
So what do you sweep, what is the roads?
The pavement and the school parking lot.
Yeah. You don't do the main drag,
Just in front of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Just because of the sidewalk now, because I sweep the sidewalk off onto the shoulder,
So like the lane, part of Jefferson,
anything that's paved.
yeah.
Oh, you're sweeping into their road so you clean it up.
Yeah, I figured it's kind of a, plus it plugs up the drainage. So, and then we'll just end up down in here in the school and so we might as well just clean it up there instead of down here. It's easier that way.
Yep.
I have a question for you, Dave. I was in Reedsboro this past week and I noticed that they, I don't know who did it, but they sprayed the roads. It must have been dusty. Do you do that at any point in time?
Yeah, we have magnesium chloride I use in the summertime. Typically, we only spot treat because where the washboard area is, it gets expensive. It's really expensive and it's long time putting it down. So I kind of balance with, if we're gonna get a bunch of wet weather, I don't really need it. You know, depends on how the roads hold it, depends on how much chloride I have left. Cause then I have, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000 or something for chloride, so
Yeah.
it's over $1 a gallon. So it doesn't go very far. So we do, it's just we don't do, you know.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it, if it was something the fire department did or what, but
Well, we
I
have,
don't know how that works out.
we have kind of a farmer style, we have a tote that I built a T-bar on, and somebody rides in the back and turns the valve on, the other guy drives up the road.
As long as it's effective, right?
Yeah. The stuff we use is more environmentally friendly, calcium, so. It's the same stuff that's in the salt.
Thanks for answering my question.
What else do you have, Dave?
We've been out pretty much nonstop road grading, I'd say, the last couple of weeks. We're getting there. I've got a quote finally on guardrail on Mill Road.
Good.
This is the third company, I guess, I've tried to do it. So hopefully they come down and do it. They're from West Springfield, Mass. It's somebody that Clarksburg has used, so they do good work.
Well, I noticed Clarksburg's got a couple guardrails that need to be replaced, so maybe it'll be incentives to come down and hit them all, you know?
He asked me if there was
Yeah.
if they could come on the weekend. I said, if you show up, I don't care what day it is. We just need to get it done.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
get them.
It's holding us up, so. The quote was for $8,000. I'm thinking that might be a little light, judging when I've had other guardrail repairs, so it may be higher than that when they get here. They've only looked at pictures, so
And this is part of the FEMA reimbursement too.
that's correct.
Yeah, it's holding that up, right? The guardrail's holding the.
on one of the roads. Is that the only road that's being held up, or we're still trying to submit to FEMA?
We have another project that needs to be submitted as well, that's in the final stages.
Okay. What'd you say, we have 4 roads?
There's 5 roads on that one that's like ready to submit, and then the guardrails one,
Okay.
so there's 2 projects.
Well, keep picking away at them, and
Yeah, we've
maybe
definitely,
in a couple of years we'll get a reimbursement.
we've definitely done it too many times, is the thing. I mean, I made a phone call
Oh,
to
yeah.
district administrator, and that kind of forced through one of the projects that they were trying to hold up on us,
Mhm.
because they had some nonsense about, we used the wrong size culvert, which doesn't even really exist, what they want us to use, so. It seems like a game by FEMA to try to delay, so they don't have to pay. I got kind of frustrated with it, so.
Yeah, I mean, my part is pretty much done, but our last person quit, and there's a new person that's going to be assigned to us, and then once that is assigned and they give the okay, we're okay, but we're just waiting.
I just wanna make clear that it's not Lori nor myself that's really been holding this up. by
Oh,
any-
I've been here one morning when she was on the phone a good 2 hours.
Yeah,
Waste.
so, and I did have, there's hydraulic studies being done on the intersection up there in Sportsman.
Oh, okay.
And I actually met the stream alteration guy there from the Agency of Natural Resources, and it's not what was proposed at the meeting, it's pretty much just what I said, it's not as simple as just throwing in another culvert. It's actually, the permit for it would actually be a pretty extensive job. Realigning that brook and actually require alcohol to like spend a significant amount of money, because they're gonna have to put an equivalent crossing in on their
You're
road.
gonna send it to them?
Yeah, because it would end up coming straight from where it comes out of the woods on
Yeah, so it wasn't as simple as just ordering gravel from Barkins
No,
and.
it's a big project.
I think,
So
Some of the
You're-
thoughts on how far you wanted to go. Well,
you're just waiting for the written response
Yeah,
or
actually,
something?
Josh Carball was supposed to send me information
Yep.
for me on that. He's also gonna do, write up a project on Mill Road, there's a 2-foot culvert crossing below the garage. It's gonna have to be replaced sooner than later, and that's gonna end up being probably a 5-foot squash realigned with the brook, so it's gonna be a pretty good project too. Like, these things are all changing, $4,000 a year for culverts is gonna be,
Yeah,
There's a whole database being set up through UMass, through the, like, the whole New England area to identify every single stream crossing, every single culvert.
Vermont already has,
I think, yeah, we have,
Yeah.
yeah.
Vermont already has that, they went around probably 10 years ago, Trout Unlimited,
And you find a lot of them.
and everything is on, is cataloged, I mean, you can't just say, well, I'm doing it anyways,
Yep.
because I can tell you, I've run into issues where people accuse down with doing certain things, and the state comes down and they bring satellite photos and say, look, no, you're wrong, you did not do that.
It's a huge database, it's just culverts and bridge crossings.
So the days of just thinking that we can do what we want, get away
No,
with it.
you can't, you really can't. It's all being, there's very few, I mean, I suppose there's still some out there in real old roads that haven't been discovered yet, but they're looking for them all.
Bring them up to Moose House,
Okay,
culvert there.
anything else on roads or trucks or equipment?
No, probably when we get done with the grading, I got a lot of work to do to the excavator. It's got a oil leak that I've got to kind of explore, I think it's the valve cover, but with the excavator, that's a big project, needed to the engine like that, a lot of the sheet metal has to come off, so we're gonna have to dive into that. I'm sure we can get it fixed, it's just something that's, I can use it if I have to, but it needs to be addressed, so.
I noticed a bill in here, I can't remember who it's from, but it's for the new grader, the new
Yeah.
loader.
Yeah,
So that's all working now?
Yeah,
I guess there's a
everything's-
problem with lights or something?
Oh, yeah, unfortunately, it didn't have a beacon on it. So the way this new stuff works, works, the computer has to be programmed, all the electrical stuff goes through the computer. So I had the guy come to program for a beacon. It had a switch in the cab for it, but it has to be programmed. And just the, I don't know what you wanna call it, whatever the guy had to buy to be able to do it was $500. So, and then he has to travel here. And he was recommended through PLT, somebody they use. And for me to even truck that machine to say John Deere would probably cost what that bill was, so. For him to come and program that, and it was a wiring issue with one of the directionals, so I had him take care of that.
So we're all good with it now? Good, good. We got, I don't know if you had time to look at this yet, but we got a report from VLCT, Wade Sewer. He did a risk management report for the garage. There's a few things on there that perhaps can start working on and get a couple of them done, but I know there's a couple of big ones here that's probably not gonna happen, especially the wood burning furnace, that's your heat there, and that's not gonna be changed right away.
No,
But if you can maybe pick at some of these and, did you guys get this?
money fixes
Is
No,
everything.
that's-
that something that you got emailed or?
I would say that
Yeah, I think you must have got it in your box.
a lot of them are low,
Oh, no, maybe
they're not, they're recommendations more than, hey, this is a
You
problem.
saw it, John?
Why would he complain about the wood furnace?
Okay.
I thought it was a safety thing.
Well, it's the insurance company, they don't want risk.
Well, that's different, yeah, but that's different than, well, I thought they were up there almost like I hate to say the word, OSHA type thing.
It's
I don't even like to say that word.
Well, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
It's, he looks it over and sees if there's a OSHA inspection, what the town might have a problem.
Right, that's what I'm saying, so the furnace, I mean, I don't see, we get to burn yourself with the wood in.
They try.
You're working with
I
heavy
can't speak for
construction.
the guy, it's always been an issue with the insurance company, so,
Yeah,
and they've never not insured us. You know, I've had the fire chief come check out our,
I've been to chimney fires and propane fires, I'd rather go to a chimney fire.
so,
I think some of their things are best practice
Where did you
recommendations.
want you to store the claw blades? You like,
yeah, I mean, he actually agreed that he didn't like our setup, but he didn't think that the setup that he would want would be feasible with our garage. So, we can't even do what he would like us to do. But he still has to put it in there.
he's gotta find something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, sometimes they.
Oh, they're
So
sensitive.
Oh my God, this is
You
too
can
good.
try to work on a couple that would
They're
show
sensitive.
good
I mean,
days.
there are a few things, like he said there's no eye wash. I do have an eye wash.
Mhm.
I have solution on the wall
That's what I have done.
that would take care of you if you had an event, but it's not okay for motion. If they came in, they wouldn't say that was okay.
Right.
Some of the other things that was the emergency light, when the power goes off, there's an exit light, the two lights that come on. But it's old enough where the batteries have just, gone
Yeah.
kaput or whatever.
Emergency
So
shower.
So those can be easily
The outlets
replaced.
aren't ground fault protected, okay, where do you start and stop?
Well, if you start picking at one or two and then let Lori know so she can,
Yeah, maybe.
Email.
Where's the
He gave you like a risk management, it's like medium, low, high, or we
Yeah.
start with the higher ones and,
I don't know if we had any that were really high.
no.
no, it's just like low, medium.
So, what are you okay with me overspending the budget, because
Whatever line item you
No.
have.
well, this is my torment, because our roof is in need of some real repair up there.
Right.
And I was gonna try, we put a little extra money in there,
Mm-hmm.
but at some point, I gotta try to figure out, get some kind of quote on the roof.
Has the fellow ever come to look at the efficiency Vermont, or what,
We're working on it.
they're working on it?
So it's kind of,
So your batteries in the exit thing, you put them in, and then by the time they come, they wore out again.
Probably.
We're good with
the
that.
last time he was here was 2017, but they worked then, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check that box off.
We put that out, that was one of the things that they recommended we do, and we did.
So that
Is that something you can do
grant? Is
yourself,
that-
or we gotta?
Oh,
have
can you
someone?
use the passive grant for this,
How big of
for
a-
any of
I
these?
can, when does that come out around?
Well,
We can
it's,
try.
we could still apply for it, if some of these things would qualify, and we could get maybe a,
Like an eyewash fountain, that's one of his recommendations, I would say that
and
is
it's a
a practical
Does it have to be a
thing.
permanent
Yeah.
one, or can you just get one that screws onto it?
I guess he told me it could be one that screws onto the faucet, but the type of faucet, I don't know if it's gonna work with this, we just have a little
Right,
tiny
right.
wash.
Right, and if you have something bad in your eye and you're doing that, there's only two of you.
Yeah.
So you're over there, Mike runs in and goes, I got something in my eye, that's,
Well, I had one time, the one guy told me that screw on was fine, and they came in a year later, and he's like, nah, you gotta have a permit,
Yeah.
you gotta have a
He
permit.
did tell
I
me
got
that
it one on
they
the
do
wall.
make a cabinet one on the wall that is OSHA okay.
Yeah.
I can look into that.
They'll change the laws on you. like
It's
you
just.
said.
I know you don't like to overspend, but if you just do
Well,
a
I
little
feel
bit
like I'm
of,
one person.
Well, I think,
I know,
if you're making movements where you're coming, you're saying, okay, I'm gonna take care of something, but our budget's, you know, holding us up on certain things. If there's nothing on there that's high, you just say, you know, within the budget, we fixed this.
Right.
I'm not sure if this
We
one
have
has
to have
any budget to do any of it.
Right. So, I mean, if we need a roof,
Right, I mean, to me, that's a priority. I mean, we don't operate without a roof, we can operate without some of the other stuff, I mean, that's my mindset.
I mean, can't we spend our money on the roof? If it's that bad,
maybe.
We could.
infrastructure.
Or
this
they have
seems
a
like
railing, it said something about a railing on there too.
the railing is,
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to like hire somebody, unfortunately, I know our insurances, but if you had some handyman type to do some of this stuff, it would really help, because, I mean, Michael and I have our hands so busy on roads.
This brings up a question again, at some point, do you feel like we should hire a third guy? Not, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are like running the place and working the place, and I feel like you're in the position you should maybe be handling a crew and taking care of things behind the scenes more. Your expertise over the years too, you know, you've learned and know how to handle a lot of things, looking at grants. So that might be something we might wanna look into, just an idea.
I would agree that I'm stretched out pretty thin, I think the problem is it's not practical.
I've always looked at that third guy, it would almost have to be just the right timing, the right person.
Right person.
You know,
Yeah.
like you said, if you had because in order to do that handyman stuff, because it's municipality, you have to have all these licenses. But if we hire a guy, we pay him $20 an hour, he doesn't need all the licenses now, he works for the town.
Well, you
Goes in there and puts a railing up, because you can put a railing up. But then when you're all out of that work, so do you hire just a maintenance guy, or do you hire someone that, like you said, it has to be, you're a jack of all trades, I hung out with you, I know you can do just about anything. It has to be that type of guy that can plow roads and work on a truck and, you know,
Otherwise, you get
put a
spread,
railing up.
you get
know?
spread even thinner as babysitting all.
Well, that's it, I mean,
And I guess that's,
training, finding the right guy and training, you take your best guy, and now he's training your worst guy, now neither one of them are gonna do it.
to get anybody that's probably worthy of hiring, you're probably gonna have to pay them, you pay me or more.
Right.
Because my son just started a co-op job, he's 17 years old. And I can tell you that he started at more money than
Yeah.
what you guys are probably willing to pay some full-time guy with a bunch of skill.
It's the struggle of small towns, it almost
It's
has to be built in, it needs to be someone
The
that,
money he started at, I probably only made a couple years ago, working for the town, when I was 17. I'm co-op with no experience.
Don't say it, cause I don't want my guys to hear it.
So there's the reality, of hiring somebody is, they have to represent the town well too, we can't just hire
Yeah,
somebody.
you can't just hire somebody, but I think we should put it in like the radar to try and keep an eye out for somebody.
the right person comes along, I mean, the ideal situation would be like a, you know,
Obviously,
25-year-old homegrown person that wants to
Yeah,
work
somebody
for
like
the
Dave's
town,
part.
right?
This is gonna go back to what you said before, though, Kurt. It's these boards, these, you know, listers, we're not getting
No, no one's
the
coming.
people that wanna step to the plate. We're lucky enough to get people to join the planning board. And, I mean, we're talking, when I looked at that zoning board, no offense at all, but the age on the zoning board, what's our future look like?
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
even this board, I mean, what, you don't see no young kids.
no, there's
You
been
know?
something lost in society as far as civic,
It's-
you know, civic duty goes, I don't really know how to pinpoint any of it, but it's going on everywhere, you know. Fire
To get-
departments, whatever it is.
So, you know, his boy, he's, gonna be a fabricator, welder. You know, that's a good trade to work for the town. That's one thing. Now you gotta have your CDL license. You have to have, you know, a little bit of mechanical, auto mechanics, you know, trucking mechanics. You know, then some maintenance.
Plowing,
Little
removing,
common
it's all by
sense. Then you
yourself.
have to have a good work ethic.
Yeah.
Put it all together, and you're right, you know what, find me one of those guys, I'll pay you more than you're getting paid right now, how's that? You wanna come work for me?
I'm
Don't
just
charge
gonna
me.
say, don't do that.
Don't hire you.
Don't do
We
that.
already talked about
It
it.
is the, I mean,
Shit, I heard his wife, and she was one of my best workers.
it's the problem, it's the struggle, it's even going back to planning, you're just talking about the headache of a culvert, and that road only extends, what, 30 yards? I mean, what if roads start going up in all kinds of different directions, and, I mean, these are important,
I
important.
I do agree with John, I think down the road you're gonna need some, down the road, and you know, then the next step is, okay, so now David retires. I'm not saying he's gonna do it tomorrow, but there's a future here, right? And in the future, everybody goes.
Yeah, you gotta kinda look down the line.
So this third guy, I mean, I'm not gonna speak for Michael, but Michael might not wanna be the supervisor after seeing what David goes through, right? There's a lot of guys don't wanna be in that position.
We're also similar in age as
Right,
well, right?
so now is this third guy, that guy you gonna lead up to that, or now you're gonna have to hire out and find an administrator?
It's
I
hard.
see that maybe the third guy pick up the brush and
Oh.
branches on the lawn.
Well,
I
I think, you know, if we could talk part-time, that might be another idea, you know? You know, you could get a part-time guy, you know,
The problem I had with the part-time guy was,
finding something.
you got, I think I ended up with, you know, guys that were like 70 that,
Yeah.
you
You're
know what I'm
not gonna
saying?
get to 17-year-old, cause it's getting paid more,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying, you've got, I've been down this road now a couple times,
Yep.
and this is always the same, it's just never gonna be enough, and then,
But the other thing, go ahead,
Oh, Bill had one too.
I'm sorry.
Just thinking that perhaps you as a board ought to authorize conceptually to David that if he found the right person, even in the middle of the year,
Oh, yeah,
you would find the money to hire them.
I don't think that
Yeah,
would.
Yeah, we
that
talked
would-
about this
I don't think
before.
that
What
would
are
be
the
a problem.
qualifications and
Yeah.
I
start
mean, the CDL thing
process.
even now is, you can't even hire somebody without a CDL anymore, because they have to go to school just to get it now. You can't do what I did with Mike or Alan.
Right.
I can't just train them myself, bring them up.
So they either go to school or already have to come out
Right.
with that, and you're not getting them in the $20 an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I take that you're not gonna hire them for $20 on the CDL, not unless they got.
They got guys that work half a year and make that much money.
Because my son's 17 and he's old.
Unless they're bleeding Stanford colors.
Now, the other,
Way over
when you mentioned CDL, this fellow that came down from VLCT said there's supposed to be records that we're keeping too, that if the DOT came in and wanted to see some of these records, they're not easily available. And
Right.
he had a town that was fined $8,000 because they weren't produced. So this is more work on Lori, or Dave. I don't think any, maybe a road commissioner in other towns keep them, but I don't think so. I think
What
there'd be-
record is it?
have to keep the CDL records.
You're up to date.
You're up to date. What was the other one?
Probably
Testing,
mileage. Stuff
Driver's
like that.
licenses, we have to submit.
something
driver
yearly, you
records
gotta
to
check.
the
Yeah.
state, and we've gotta do a lot of stuff that we just don't do on a yearly basis.
Just not enough
You
time.
get a
to do
checklist.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
That's
Check the
something
list.
Yeah.
Dave can focus on as a supervisor and he can coordinate someone else to
We'll
do
give you a
dirty work.
computer.
One of the things that Kurt mentioned before too is this town, and I know there's some stubborn people in the town, but this select board in the future has to start looking at allowing things to happen in the county. The tax base is at a standstill. It's at a standstill. You're gonna, you gotta do evaluations, we just talked about this. That's not gonna drive your taxes. What's gonna drive your taxes is expenses. Expenses. Hire a third guy, it's an expense. Your school goes up, blah, blah, blah. Expenses what drive taxes. They're going up, we all know that. But our population, our number of houses that we tax hasn't gone up to keep up with it, so what happens? We all pay more. You have to allow things to happen in this town. The guy wants to start a business up the road here. We have to start looking at zoning and say, all right, you can come and put your business in, and maybe even think about, I don't know if Vermont allows it, but a commercial tax. Like North Adams, I pay a much higher tax in North Adams for commercial than a residential tax.
So Vermont, last legislation, I don't know about now, they had a bill going to the floor where, because not every town in the state of Vermont can charge that 1% tax. This bill was gonna make it allowable so everyone could charge.
Right, because you have to have a charter.
A 1% built, yeah.
Now, what about the
Business.
difference in a rate? Like Bennington has a different tax rate for their
Yeah,
business.
I'm not
Maybe they
sure.
have their own bylaws.
There's very few.
Well, that's
there's
what I'm
very
saying, so why wouldn't you, right now, as far as I'm concerned, Stanford seems, not everybody, but many people seem anti-business, okay?
Yeah.
If someone wants to come in here and start an ice cream business, and it's like, oh, what are they doing? Wants to sell
I mean, coffee shops
stuff
that
down the
shut
road,
down.
Commodore, let them sell Commodore.
We've argued recently for 2 or 3 meetings about a home farm stand.
Right, a home farm stand.
You can't have a home farm stand in
Right.
Sanford, Vermont, I
So,
don't know what we're doing.
What I'm saying is, if you could get these businesses, even if you didn't, there wasn't a different tax rate, the valuations of these properties would go up. So you have a person that's making money, he's got a store, the valuation of that property should go up. And then you will have a better tax rate, then you can afford the things. I don't see it, we just voted no to law enforcement because we don't have the money.
The only
Right?
source of income in this town, other than some kind of grant or something we want to get, is taxation.
Right.
That's it, there is no
Period.
other form of income.
Period.
That's the bottom line.
And those
That's-
guys from the natural
that's the way it
forest,
is.
that forest cut's not gonna do well.
No.
I mean,
It's gonna be
20
yeah,
what they say, 12,000 acres that we're not taxing.
12,203
I
acres.
mean, what's
That
the,
we're not taxing.
what's the hidden cost of some of these things?
Right.
You never really.
Now, I understand there's pros and cons. You let someone build a house up in, LaSure Road and they send 4 kids to the school and they go to McCann.
Yeah.
But on the other hand is, you can't just have all summer homes either.
Well,
Because then you're not gonna have a community. You're not gonna have people sitting on these boards.
there's a balance. I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but I recently just looked at all the new appraisals and there's 4, 5, 6 houses on there now over $1 million.
Right.
So there's a lot of different trends that are starting to take place in town. I don't remember seeing $1 million appraisals.
No. Lisa, you had a question?
Oh,
You forgot?
They sort of.
David, anything else on roads? Let's,
One quick thing that kind of pertains to roads and rivers, I've had a bunch of people, not a bunch, a few people asking about the heavy equipment in the stream over here by the bridge. It's for a debris clearance job that the DOT has commissioned, just so that if there's a storm or whatever, logs and stuff come down the river, it'll have enough clearance and not plug that bridge up. Basically what you're doing.
the fellow that is doing it said this is his 4th time that he's done it.
Yeah.
They do it there.
They took a lot out.
Roaring Brook runs very, there's a lot of fall in a short period of time, so it's a very erosive type of stream, so it does deposit a lot of stuff as soon as it flashes all over.
There's a reason they call it Roaring Brook.
Yeah.
It's
They
a
took a
stone,
lot of
I mean,
stone.
there's a lot of fall just in a short distance for that.
and the stone that clangs against each other.
Yeah, but they took a lot of stone out of there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sheila was watching it all, making sure they were doing it right. Saw you standing on the bridge, Sheila.
What?
You were watching it, make sure they were doing that job up here
No,
right.
I was asking them if they were gonna come and down, do it all the way down the
Oh,
river.
Oh, yeah.
that's,
I saw you standing on
those
the bridge
days are
there,
gone, Sheila.
telling them what to do.
Well, I wanted to know because it's getting wider down behind me.
Oh, yeah.
Dave, anything on recycling?
So I'll just open on Wednesday now.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Lori, you hear anything on emergency management?
No.
Okay. Great. Discussion.
Hard, isn't it?
Nope.
Status of joint meeting with school directors. I still have not heard anything from Erica, and I emailed her this morning, nothing. And we
Sorry,
had two
today,
dates.
if I'd known, I would've said, hey, did you read your email?
Yeah, we had 2 dates. The next date was the
Well,
5th, I think, and,
I think it's in their best interest more than it is ours,
mhm.
so,
Call
yeah. You know,
us when you're ready.
yep.
Okay. Board of Civil Authority training, there was, 7 or 8 of us there today. Did the training because with, the new appraisal, and new members on the Board of Civil Authority, it was nice to have this training, at least heard something or how to do this. And I think it went very well, Lori, how you set up and everything. Bill?
Just to go back a step, did anybody get to sit on the IC 402 training?
No.
Nope,
No.
okay. Because somebody is starting to query to Bob for the local emergency plan. I know you're close to doing it.
He took it and had a lot of suggestions, and we talked about it, and I haven't heard back, so I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing it, or if he's taken over the,
I don't know, what he hasn't discussed it with me, but eventually he's gotta come back and have it signed.
Yeah.
And May 1st is the submission date.
Oh, we missed it.
There's another one coming around.
Well, this is another one of those 5% FEMA reimbursement.
Oh, yeah. Is there any way we can have that like we did today? So we set it up and do it here?
well, they had an in-person one in Bennington, the one you just missed. So I
That
That
don't
was in
know.
person, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can go online and take it.
No, but I'm saying is, I like the way we had it today where you set it up.
I mean, I probably
I'm not good at
could.
online stuff, I don't know how to do
And it's,
it.
I think
I'm just saying, then all of us can do it at once.
Certificates, or can I set it up for
I don't know.
The 4 of us can go both places.
But even if we got a couple of people
Yeah,
registered,
that way there we would just have one.
and if you do it on an off day and steal the big screen in the library, it makes it an easy presentation.
Yeah.
Bill, what's the number again?
IC 402,
I mean, I can.
alternately IC 100. IC 100 you can definitely take by yourself online. I'm pretty sure you can do 402 as well. And you can go on to the FEMA website or the Vermont Emergency website, either one will take you to it. Probably under a subcategory that says training.
If I was able to do it here, how many of you would want to do it here?
I'll do it here.
One?
I mean, I would do it here if everybody's doing it.
Yeah, I think then if we're all together,
Yeah.
Like
get
if
done.
there's another Thursday at like 4 or whatever
Yeah.
night it is.
Yeah.
Seem to work.
Thursdays are good.
rainy day.
Rainy, I'll take
Yeah,
a
pick a
rainy.
rainy day. Today was too nice.
Yeah.
I was looking out there going,
I might even
The
be
door was
able to-
open and it's,
I don't know how qualified Dara Zink is. She might be able to run it. So she might be able to organize bringing it. I don't know.
correspondence, uniform municipal excess weight permits from Casella and Cardinal Logistics.
Is that another $10 thing?
And a motion to approve them?
Yeah, we're making money.
They're adding up.
Since we said we don't need them, they just keep
Yeah, we
coming
can't
in.
raise that rate any.
that's what I was, I
Call it
wanna bring
100
this up. I know I should shut up, but I'm gonna bring it up. If we said we don't need them and we're taking the money, should we be taking the money?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I'm saying is, how do they know to pay? Who's telling them to pay?
Cause it's a
It's a
law
state
today.
law.
Okay, so we're just not chasing people.
Which
Right.
is,
Yeah,
Oh.
here's the thing, is do you
We're not
wanna
really
chase the
law.
people, or do you just wanna,
It's something they
Well,
used
I'm just saying is, I don't wanna chase people, but I'm saying is,
There's no one to enforce it.
right.
Right.
Yeah, how would you know? You just sit up
So
there
what
like,
they
hey,
take
you're on the truck.
voluntarily,
You know, get
Right,
all these
that's
people.
exactly what I'm saying, so if you know, people just do it, they do it, it's not something we're just doing wrong then.
in
Why?
years past, chair members have taken it upon themselves to call people who didn't apply, who applied a year or two before, and I have done it in the past, and for $10, I just don't have time to stay on top of it, and
Okay.
most of what it does is if one of those haulers damages a road or a building or a sign, it gives you the information to go get them.
Right, it's the more
That's it.
information than the $10.
They're really recording their information each year.
And it's a permit that says, you know, during mud season, we don't want you on the roads unless they're frozen, so that
Right.
you don't get some heavy oil truck just making a mess of something.
Okay.
So do these forests?
Sorry,
This forest logging,
UPS truck.
trucks have to pay that?
So, yes,
I
it's
mean,
a,
the national forest,
no,
that
not
whole logging
national
thing, they don't
forest.
have to pay.
That's why Westerville has a mud season.
They should.
There's,
should.
national forest don't have to
Well,
pay. They don't have to.
Well,
do
I
anything.
have had loggers,
They're
so
coming
logger,
back
log
over and
truckers,
punch
Right.
and they
excavation.
start trucking, yes. But it's
Okay.
not something they do automatically.
In the past, they've always done good with the roads, though.
Yes,
The Kenny Bump people?
the National Forest
Well, national
backed
forest.
them, backed us.
I don't know, it's only, they only been here once, and the whole time I was here, that was last.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of power line guys. That's
No
what-
go.
Yeah, the Casella power line people, the
They
Velcro
always
people
did good,
were really
yeah.
good. Like, they put a bunch of money into that
Right.
road to be able to go up there. I mean, they definitely put a lot more wear and tear on the rest of the road, I would say. But at least they did something, nobody else typically does anything, so.
Right.
I mean, they can props for that.
And, anything else, Lori? You gave me a request for an appointment to the Conservation Commission.
Yeah, I do have correspondence.
Oh, okay.
here. If you wanna start with that.
Yep. Dear Stanford Select Board, I would like to put myself forward to serve on the Conservation Commission. Lisa Gramlin.
Is that a conflict of interest? I'm just-
I know.
Geez, you know, if you don't laugh once in a while, you know.
If it is, tell me now.
Conservation Commission, I think, is about to have their first meeting in,
Really?
6 years.
40
I
years.
thought it was complimentary.
That is something, is that something
I thought
you're
it
doing,
was
Marta?
more. Yes.
Yeah.
When is the meeting?
I thought it would help me learn more.
Well, probably will,
To
yeah.
be on the
That
right.
makes sense.
side.
That makes sense.
May 20th to Sheila, and she said she'd get back to me, but I haven't heard, so I'm hoping it will be May 20th.
On that note, isn't there a Green Up Day or something this?
Green Up Day is this Saturday, come on down, get a donut, get a plastic bag, pick up some
Do you have
trash
to
and
take a
make.
bag, or can you just take a donut?
You can just take a donut, cause you
Alright.
serve the town in other ways, everybody else take a bag and pick up some trash.
Okay, can I have a
Motion.
motion on this?
Well, motion
To
to nominate Lisa Graham.
to appoint her to the Conservation Commission
Second.
Four-year term.
Whatever the wording is.
that expires in 2028.
Is there still other seats
Wow.
available on that board?
No.
That's the last.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm
No,
sorry,
that's
there
just
is.
like invasive plants and.
Really, like I said, they haven't even met in like 6 years. You can talk about anything really,
There is
conservation.
two vacancies on it.
Could be
Trash
Other
inside the road.
vacancies.
history, trash, it's not just like environmental stuff. Any conservation of your historical stuff, you know. I don't know, there's a definition for it somewhere.
I mean, just based
Anything
on
you're trying to
the
conserve.
Florida side, you know, I was thinking, God, is there anything any of us can do?
And like, something accomplishable
Something like
by the
Ashmore.
board might be something like invasives, not that you're gonna get anything accomplished, but you can make a bunch of noise. I mean, you can
People
charge,
can
you
It
can
could
charge.
be informational,
I think
you
you
can
can make
just.
people
Roadside
What about
invasives.
poison parsley? Don't
Well, I mean,
worry,
if you
no.
can get the state to change their mowing patterns, you'd probably go a long way on roadside invasives,
Yeah.
but they mow it right as it turns to seed.
That's gonna be my job one.
Oh,
that stuff is all
I'll
over the
see
place
it,
now.
and then we'll see
Yeah,
it.
it's all, see, they really should mow it, they're never gonna do it for budget reasons, but you should really mow it like twice,
Doug second.
especially for the
Okay,
parts
Doug
that,
second.
you gotta mow it before, you gotta mow it like June and then mow it again before it goes to seed, I mean, they're just
Yes.
perpetuating it down the roadside, it gets into the mower and just,
Yes.
spreads all over.
Kurt, you asked if there was vacancies, yes, there's a, 7-man board,
Mm,
but there's 2 vacancies
right.
still.
I am, I'm on conservation.
So
So
there's just one.
it's goes to,
I think there's 4, you know?
there's 4, so there's,
Is Sheila
it's a
on there
7-man
Yes.
board? Yeah, it's Sheila, Dave, now Lisa and I, and you're saying there's one more
Martin
slot?
Christopherini, his term is up next year.
So that, I
Oh, so
hate
he's
to
still on
bring
it.
up stuff like that below there. Wait, there. When I became a select board member, there was a select board member. She was on this board, the planning board, and the zoning board.
That's been going on for a long time. I think I was probably the first one, just for my own personal reasons, to say I wasn't gonna vote for the planning board. I don't know that anyone's ever done that. I just did it because I don't want anyone to perceive any type of conflict. I'm not trying to have any type of personal gain out of any of it. You know, it's not just a job, it's like $800 a year or whatever we get.
Well,
So, you know, I'm not, it's really just trying to do what I think is the best thing.
congratulations,
Yeah,
you're on
see,
another
we're-
board, Lisa.
Taxi or like that.
Our planning board doesn't
It's gonna
get.
put you over the top.
No, that's 25.
The other thing is like, we appoint those positions as a board, we
Yeah.
appoint the planning. Is that something at some point you wanna have elected, like people, hey, I wanna be on the planning board and let the town vote,
Well,
or how do you
I'm
know?
not sure if
Isn't that set up in the law, I'm sorry, isn't that set up in the laws, like which boards are appointed and which?
that's
boards
what I
are-
was, yeah, that's what I was wondering,
It's always
some
fun,
are,
right,
and
the
some.
way we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can choose to have, I'm not sure the process or whatever, but you could choose to have an elected board.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it
of
wouldn't
course.
carry any more weight than it already does, really.
My only intention is that it might stir some people up and get more people involved, and
Sure.
like, oh, you know, what, hey, I'm gonna run for planning, you know?
The one
you
thing
do-
about an elected official is.
You lose control of what
Right.
direction that board goes.
Right, you
If
can't.
those are
remove-
elected people.
Yeah.
You get 2 or 3 of them to come on the board and say, we're going this way,
Yeah.
you're stuck
You
with it.
can't,
Yeah.
That's a good point.
basically.
Not that they will, but
I mean, it's worked pretty good, we're back talking about the planning board again, but it's
Yeah,
worked
well,
pretty good. It's chaotic, the meetings are chaotic and they're
I don't know if
unorganized.
this is old business or not, but, it was mentioned, I can't remember where, about, we were talking about the taxes. And it was, I think it was yesterday, it was mentioned something about listers. And a while back, I had actually made a motion on this board to bring listers from elected to appointed. And it's probably the only mistake I've ever made on the board, but it seems like it's not working. And I didn't know, and I was talking to Laurie, is the training for a lister, when you appoint them, is not covered by the state, correct?
When you appoint someone, they must come with training already under their belt.
So that's why we're not getting anyone. Where if you're elected, they train them, the state
The
trains them.
state will train you
So
for
we
free.
might wanna consider, listers are, a lister's important, and it would save us money down the road.
Yeah, it's like $26,000 a year or something that we pay for lister.
part side of that is that we went for years when nobody would take out papers to run for a lister.
Yeah, that's what, that was.
So I guess that's, I don't
It's a
know.
balance.
I'd love to be able to appoint someone, but we have not had one person since we made that, since we changed that, made that change. We haven't had one person asked, not one.
We
To be
didn't
what,
have any,
elected?
but we didn't have any before.
Well, we did have someone get elected. That person, when we changed it, resigned.
It did seem like one of those things that kind of died off, or like back in the 80s, it was like a line of a few people at least that always
Yeah.
wanted to do it. And
Yeah.
then-
They were old and retired, and this
Yeah,
was
It's a hard
a
job.
big job.
Mhm.
It's an important job,
No doubt.
but it's also empty. And if we, I don't know, I'm just bringing it up. I mean, if we brought it back to elected, we would have to bring it up at a town meeting, correct?
Right.
Well, that's what I was
Yes.
gonna say, is if you guys, when you're ready to do your warrant, did a warrant article asking if the town wanted to go back
Okay.
to elected and see if people will take out papers to run, and if people are interested in it
Right.
and run, then you're all set. If nobody runs, then you'll have to continue with the
How
vote.
many seats would we have to have?
I think some towns have elected listers and they have the hired lister, the hired
Yes.
assessor.
Higher
Yes.
assessor, right.
So they work together, the local listers could do the deck and the easier ones
Well, it's just like,
and figuring out
when we were
this
just
stuff.
doing
Help
this
you
training,
transition too.
What's that?
That could help you transition.
Right, and there's more than just figuring out the deck, it's the sales studies and
see, the
where
training
else
part is
there's-
what's catching, bothering me. I wish they would just let, no matter which way, it doesn't make sense that if we appoint someone, they won't train them,
Oh, gosh, no.
Doesn't
No,
make sense.
even-
But like Marta was saying at the training that we just did, when we have this Board of Abatement, the Board of Abatement puts you that hometown personal look into it. We're not getting that now, we're getting these people from out of town going, hey, your house is assessed at this and, I don't really care. This way here, we have someone that cares, but I don't know, maybe we'll
Just
never,
familiarity.
maybe we'll never get anywhere.
It's worth bringing up at town meeting.
Okay, alright.
Okay, anything else under correspondence, Lori?
I don't know if you wanna talk about, we have websites and requests for phones and emails.
Yep, I do have them here.
I don't have any, I have other things, but not correspondence.
Okay. I have under old business, dogs, April 1st was the deadline, how are they coming in?
I'm gonna say we probably have licensed half, past the deadline. Our reminder letters have gone out,
Oh, good, okay,
so I've had a lot of people actually come in this week.
good. And then I'm sure the same ones are on, just like,
Yeah.
What?
I just paid
I've
it.
done it.
When did I get a license my dog again? I just paid it last month.
Yep, yep.
and it's longer than that. Okay,
Let's see, I did carry the list with me. 96 animals at this point are unlicensed.
Is Luke around?
I usually talk to him by email, so.
How do you know that those 96 are even still alive?
Well, they were alive last year and the owners have not contacted me to say different, so.
Pretty good chance at least 94.
Huh?
So, when we send them letters out, if you do say they're not alive, and we find out they are alive, then you're gonna get your fine. But yeah, we've had people come in saying, my dog died, or I got rid of the dog, Yep.
but then the dog does show up when he bites somebody.
Right. Then we
He just-
proceed from there.
He just,
It's not my dog.
I know a guy that named his dogs all the same, so maybe it was just the same name.
that's right.
George Foreman.
Lauren, did you wanna talk about the auditor at all, or?
I do,
Okay,
but I was waiting until my time.
okay,
Is it time?
sure, it's old, new, whatever, go ahead.
So the auditors came this week. They were very nice. They were very happy with a lot of things that we were doing. They would like to see some changes in what we are doing. Right now, we have our general fund, and we have our money market, and we have our reappraisal fund in this account, we have our fire truck replacement fund in this account, and we have like 15 different accounts all over the place. And he would like to see all of the accounts, well, all the money put into one basket, but tracked separately. So there would be different numbers, the cemetery 400 and the library 500 and reappraisal 600. So the money would still be individualized, but kept in one account. And he felt that every spring I have to apply for a tax anticipation note because I don't have enough money to carry me through until taxes came in. But if we pull the hundreds of $1,000s from here and there and everywhere all into one account, we wouldn't have to borrow anymore. We could save
Borrow from yourself.
money, you're kind of, yeah,
Yeah, but you're still tracking on paper.
you still, everything would be still tracked separately on paper. It just wouldn't be maintained in individual bank accounts in different places. He would like to see like library and cemetery handled the same way, like when Dave comes in, he codes out all of his bills and I write the checks. Right now, the library has its own bank accounts, they spend the money, Tina Senecal, their treasurer, reconciles it, then she gives it to me, I have to re-reconcile it and re-enter everything in NEMRIC so that my bank's, statements match hers, so we're,
And just-
doubling and tripling entries that, he says you're just wasting a lot of time and not really serving a purpose that suits us. So he would like to see as little money as possible handled at the transfer station. He doesn't want to see us selling transfer cards there. He'd like to keep as much money just here in the office. He thinks this is the safest and best way to do it, not that you really have to worry, but, these are just his recommendations.
For the convenience to the town people, how much money is at risk?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go rob this
Now,
transfer station.
Yeah, well,
it's been done.
I mean, I understand from a
Plus, we probably
bookkeeper
from his
accounting.
point of view, these are just his suggestions to benefit the town, and he doesn't expect us to just implement everything.
Yeah.
I like the first part, but just the transfer station.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, there was he wanted to meet the select board chair, so I came down and, very nice, and of course he asked about fraud.
Yeah.
Do we see any here? No, I don't see any. We show him how we track stuff and how we sign off. That's why you notice your names tonight?
Yeah, that's one of the changes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
It's like anybody can chat.
that's right, never thought about that.
You should be making them sign it. He would
Yep.
like to see Nancy, see more of when I do journal ledger entries, that, for you guys to take a look at that, see why I'm making adjustments to the accounts.
What about the new people coming up the ladder that can't do,
Sign.
they can't sign their name?
Yeah, teach them how to sign.
Yeah, so they're gonna go back to the check?
We certify their X's.
Just make
That's
your,
right, it's
just
just
make,
building
make their
guys.
mark.
Here's your mark.
Another thing that he wants to do is
Oh,
move
that's
us. He wants to move us from our modified accrual base accounting to a pure cash system. Cash on January 1st to the cash on December 31st, and not play games of bills that were paid in January that were really December, and bills that we prepaid in December that were January, and I'm constantly having to split every year payroll that crosses years, and he's like, you guys are just too small for all of that. It would really benefit a company that had a lot of inventory that you would depreciate. We don't file taxes, we don't depreciate, we don't take advantage of the reasons that, a modified system.
Pull back your invoices, so.
Right, so he's like, just, let's go back to keeping it simple and go back to a cash
The
system.
worst that could happen is that one year, the very first year, it might be not quite so even. But by the time you've done it for 2 years, it's all balanced out.
Yeah.
That's what he said, if you pay 4
I don't
quarterly
have a
payments, does it matter if
Right.
it's
And
for
anybody
what year
can
it's
pick it up
for?
and look at it and see exactly what, you don't have to know the game that's going.
That's
Right.
right.
This is what's been annoying me for the last.
I know,
15
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Simplification.
Okay, so like I told them, we're a small town, we're not business people. We know if we have money in the bank, we pay the bill. And we just pay it like that.
Right.
We're used to working that way in our own personal lives, we're not big finance people, and that's how it is.
He seemed very pleasant, very knowledgeable. One of the big things he wanted to do was bring all of our, accounts payable and all the accounts that, in my number, I have running totals that have been there from last year and the year before and the year before, and he really wanted to work at zeroing everything out, so we have a fresh start going forward, so.
Sounds like a good move then.
Yeah, sounds like it makes sense.
Yep.
So, he's gonna
So-
send recommendations too,
Yeah.
written ones.
So moving forward, we're gonna go by his recommendation, or
Probably.
I think so.
do we need a motion that, or just do it, or?
Wait till they
Well,
come.
wait, he's gonna send a letter.
Okay.
And his suggestion was not to just put all your eggs in one basket overnight, but, you know, maybe close out your reappraisal fund and merge it and see how that goes. And in another couple of months, close another account and merge it and,
Definitely sounds like a simpler process,
Yeah.
Yes.
for sure.
There's no legal reason we were doing that.
Well, we actually have different banks, not just
I
different
I
accounts.
have 4 different banks.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
And besides, with that accumulated money together,
Yeah.
you can shop to
Well,
Get a
this-
whatever
better,
bank, the
yeah,
bank
they
you want to
listen to you a
use.
little bit
Well,
better.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, because there's a thought of, do we wanna stay at the bank we're at, or do we find a bank that might be more accommodating?
And the bank that you are going to keep a couple $100,000 is probably going to be a lot more conducive to borrow. If you do need to borrow money in anticipation, they're
Absolutely.
gonna give you better consideration.
Yep.
How much money you plan on putting in one bank account that insured?
They're all,
Well, most of them are
how
double
much?
insured now.
Lori's,
Up to
yeah,
how
they,
much?
they would have to provide that over 200,000 FDIC, cause it would definitely be over,
Right.
we're required to have that.
So
especially at tax time.
there's a separate insurance company on
The
both
banks
sides.
do it.
Yeah. Besides the federal government.
Um, Sounds good. He seemed happy with all of the paperwork and everything. Okay, John, I have a question for you. You mentioned trees down in the back schoolyard. Are
Yeah.
they in the mowing area or?
Yeah, they could probably come across them when he's mowing. They must have came down that last windstorm we had. But they're down like the soccer field area
Okay,
and by the tennis court.
well, we'll have to see if he moves them because he didn't come here
Look,
to look or anything.
see, in the past, we had trees cut, but I don't know if we had to have anybody come and pick them up, I think.
Right. Maybe the ones and then
I mean,
the ones
I'm
are.
sure, I mean, why wouldn't he for $500 more, he should be doing it.
I'm thinking that our bid package just said like the stuff left from plowing, like if the,
Debris.
and the debris from, you know, just little twigs and stuff that's fallen, I don't know as it would,
Well, we'll have to see if he
Pick
starts
up
mowing
and
around
remove
it all
branches
summer.
and vegetation, that bring prior to first mowing.
They don't like to get off the
Yeah.
lawn
Mows
boats.
it or just makes
They're
it
like
bad,
corn
bad
maze.
around.
Yeah. And once you're on that lawnmower, nobody likes it.
Yeah, it's hard to get off.
So, that's a
You
different,
mow
it's
them out.
They actually
like a unit or
cut some
something.
lawn.
How big are these branches?
They're trees, right?
Are these
The ones-
branches
I
like,
haven't seen them.
The ones behind the tennis court are,
It's something he could probably handle, it's nothing.
when they're right down on the tennis court
They're there.
fence.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, are they that size or this size?
John? How big diameter are the trees?
10 inches maybe.
Okay.
Not the ones behind the cemetery, the tennis court, are they?
Yeah, the ones I saw were like right in the soccer field, you can see it out in the field, but someone whoever's mowing's gonna be like, hey, I can't mow, and hopefully he does something with it.
Tennis courts eroded, it's all, the trees are just.
Yeah,
fell,
that's
the
a
bank
mess
left.
down there.
So that's where the seed savers were.
Is anybody using the seed savers? Are they active or?
They could, done, I
They're
think.
done, right? So they left.
So they left a mess.
Yeah. I mean, the whole court was, probably end up in a.
It's unfortunate the fields don't get used nearly
Right.
as much as they used to.
I think the tennis court too, if the seed savers are using it, then it is a liability because the asphalt's all cracked and lifted and
Yeah,
it's a big trip hazard.
it's enough.
look into doing something with that, or making it look good, or take the
We
fence
don't
down?
Rip it right out of there.
There's
That's-
not
Get
any
rid of it.
sports in town anymore, right?
Here, that was donated by
School
Harry
events.
Patton years ago. and-
Kids,
Tennis
enough
report
interest.
was a grant, a
Yeah.
recreation grant.
Yeah, in the
Madison,
seventies
no.
when people actually like played tennis.
There were a number of people that used it in the late, through the late seventies, maybe early eighties.
It used to be pretty popular back there, not in the long.
Well, we came to a point where we weren't gonna spend the money to maintain it any,
Right.
you know, to do maintenance on it because nobody was using it. Certainly nobody from town.
I think, I'm not sure if we even made a motion to just get rid of it, but then the seat saver said this would be beautiful
Right.
to have our gardens there.
That's all I got, forget the,
Well, who's
forget
in
the
charge of the
conversation, but
seats?
that's the gist of it.
Somebody wants to look into it and see what we can do, or it's worth taking down. I think the fence is pretty well wrecked down there.
It's all cut.
Is
cut
there,
through.
Yeah.
didn't they build a building, a shed or something?
Yeah.
There's stuff
They ever
inside
finished
there, a
the
little
shed?
garden shed, and, I don't know, I'd have to look better, I haven't really.
'Cause my son was helping build it,
Yeah,
and then they said, you know,
There was like classes and
things
stuff
that-
going on
you
down
said,
there
"Oh,
for a
fine."
little while, but,
you can't give them
No,
a
I
right.
think-
They ran out of volunteers.
yeah.
mhm.
I might be interested in purchasing the raised beds if they're still worthy of moving. I don't know what shape they're in.
I don't really know who would even, there's like blueberry bushes growing down there, someone could dig them up, and put them in their yard, I suppose.
I'm surprised the school doesn't have a program where the kids can learn how to.
They were for a little while.
Yeah, they talked about that.
They were for a little while, and it was
Yeah.
mostly,
Those
it was
compost.
mostly Helen's was the
Shit.
driver of all that,
Yeah,
so.
the whole summer camp.
Yep. But I, think if there's anything down there that's savable and someone wants it, take it.
Yeah,
I
that's,
wouldn't sell it, I just
I
take it.
take it.
That's the way I think.
I mean, it was like, part of the concept behind it too was some of what we were talking about in the planning board the other night, it's just self-sustainability, teaching people how to garden, things of that nature. But it just kind of fell apart.
So now we're stuck with a mess there.
Now it's a mess, yeah.
Well, it got to be to where Stephen Green was doing almost all of the work
Yeah.
by himself or with Helen
Yeah.
and all those people that said, yeah, and I want a garden plot, and just never showed.
Mhm. So if anyone's interested, looking, get back to the select board and give us your suggestions what to do with it.
I'll take a walk over there, look at it or whatever.
The other thing I had on here was, old business about the building permit form. I was hoping Deb would be here tonight, cause I thought this permit was finalized and put to bed. But, Deb, I believe she didn't want her phone number on here, she wanted a town email, or have her, oh, she wanted both, okay.
What permit is this now?
The building permit?
For West Shore Road?
No, for,
All
just
building
the general
permits.
building.
Okay,
permit.
just,
Yeah,
alright.
the one that we approved a few weeks ago. So to get a town email, right now there's 9 active emails that we are paying for. And the cost per user, it depends on how many users. And we figured if it's gonna be a little cost prohibited to do this, because it might just blow up into everybody wants a town email address.
Oh,
Not
okay, I see
they.
what you're saying. I could care less whether I have one or not.
But,
You know,
How much does one email address cost?
well, that's not only one, but then what if Lisa wants one? Oh, I don't know.
That particular one,
I,
you're putting it on a town forum. That's different than handing it to
Where did I see that?
everybody.
yeah, but this would be just for her. Just for the-
$7.
Just for the AO. How much do you have there?
$7 per user,
Okay.
Per,
per user.
per year?
per one, it'd be $7.
Yeah, but is it
No,
a
it
year,
must
a
be
month?
year, yeah.
I think that's a month.
I think it's a month.
Most of these are monthly.
Oh.
He anticipates if we did want to have everyone have a town email, it would be another $315 to $400 a month increase from what we're paying now.
I guess my
Everyone-
question is what does everyone consist of?
Yeah, who's everybody?
Well, I
Is it town
guesstimated like
employees or town board members?
board members, cause she's an appointed.
Well, at Lori's discretion, was it a problem with giving her the town email address on the form?
She doesn't want them coming to me. She wants them to go directly to her, but she doesn't wanna use her personal email. And I had thought she could create a stanfordza@gmail.com
Uh-huh.
for free,
Yeah.
and that way she would, I mean,
Oh,
she
yeah,
could create her own email and
Right.
make it, that's what she uses
Without a
for
cost.
town,
Yeah.
without a cost. So,
Why don't we suggest that?
Is that agreeable?
Yeah, I'm not sure on the logistics of the whole email thing, but if we get away with it, not spending any money, I'm all for
Well,
it.
the thing too, Deb did say, with email back and forth to, say somebody calls her or emails her, Deb, do I need a permit for this garage? Or I'm thinking of doing this, what's the process?
See, that's
So
where
she
I'm,
would email back and it'd be in writing.
but will it ever make it here to the town office?
that's what my problem, I like
Yeah,
the writing, I like it in writing.
Because
You know,
this is-
we probably we should have never been through this, but we know we got spanked, now we gotta do it in writing.
Yeah.
And the email that she makes can be deleted. You know, so now it costs money to go have someone dig it up. You know, so now he says, yeah, she sent me an email, and she goes, I didn't send that email.
Right,
That would be
right,
my-
right.
I wanna see it
Yeah.
written.
Yeah.
on
But
the-
doesn't it have to be
public knowledge too, though?
Any town, yes.
So-
If it's an official web email, it would be public. Well, it would be under the public disclosure laws if it has.
So it would need to be codified.
Right, and that's why they push us not to use our personal emails, because they see your whole thing, and, you know, any conversation or any business that I did, they don't want, you know. I don't know. Pretty sure.
Well,
So,
I'm thinking for the one, okay, but then what if somebody wants to correspond with planning commission or, conservation commission and
ZBA, and
ZBA and, I don't know how
And
big
this-
this is gonna get.
Is there a recent email? I don't know.
Well, I don't know, that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah,
It's kind of a new thing, so, you know, when Laurie gets information sent to the town, she can send it to us, but I very rarely get anything to the town email from a public, you know, from a citizen or anything. I might get,
I don't know that I
like the
ever.
sheriff sent me something, the select board of state, Reef wrote something,
I did.
but I don't ever remember anybody.
I did
I
very
don't
sure
ever
mine.
remember any
I didn't,
person.
I never even saw yours, that's what I'm saying, I don't, but that's what I'm, it's probably better that people communicate through the office than they do us, you know,
Right.
I don't know.
She may not want it to come through the office, but maybe it has to.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and then the other thing is if I have a private email that he's sending me, and he sends me a private email, we discuss something that's a board discussion, and then I send it to Kurt, and now it's a meeting. So you gotta be careful of that, you know. I don't know, I don't wanna make a big deal out of it, I'm just saying is we've never had it before, and now I don't know if it's
I don't
a
know.
can of worms that we're opening or not, so.
Right.
so would there ever be a necessity that the town would want the access to it?
Well,
Like,
that's
if
what I'm
she-
saying.
If she creates a gmail.com, we would, you know.
My thing with those type of things is, once we, and it's nothing but, it's not a personal
It's
thing
not a
with
personal
Deb,
thing,
Deb at
it's
all.
In general.
She might never, not always be in that position, and the next person, and I go back to, and I think Nancy's the only one that was on the board when, we had the dog officer incident. I mean, this guy was doing things that you wouldn't believe, ended up shooting a town resident's dog, and we're so lucky we didn't get sued. But the guy just kinda did his own thing, and then, you know, then he taped the select board member, because you don't have to tell him. So, you know, he made it, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
You know, and it was out of our control, you know, I think we should have control a little bit.
What's the
And
difference?
especially something like permitting,
Yeah, that's
I
kind
mean,
of an
that
important
feels
role.
really,
What's the difference
If
of
you want
having,
to
if you have
document
further
it.
questions, contact the zoning administrator, and her phone number's on here. What's the difference between that
Right,
and
and if
an
you want,
email?
if you wanna get a hold of her through email, you send it to the clerk and she will correspond with her. You know, then you can,
So if you put the town clerk at stanfordvt.net and anything that's zoning, I forward.
right, you could for,
That's an
ask,
extra
more
step
work
for
for
Lori.
Lori.
Yeah, that's an
ah,
extra.
she don't do anything.
But then if they go back and forth, you've still lost your control.
Yeah,
Unless you have
That's true.
town email, then
I don't know either.
I just wanna make sure that
Let's-
we're covered.
Let's think about it, leave it like
We've been
that for
burned a
now.
couple times in this town,
Think about it, leave it like that for now.
Push it to the next.
Dave and Deb can do.
yeah, maybe she's got a good reason for it. Yeah.
That's all I have. Oh, I know, wait a minute. In your busy schedule, Lori, could you get us the first quarter report?
I
That's
can
all right,
do that.
that's all right,
Yeah.
next time. You could leave it in our box, we can look it over and just have it on the agenda for next meeting.
Yeah.
Any other new business, old business? No? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for personnel matter and possible litigation. Two separate items.
Second.
Can I
Sorry.
just, sorry.
Yep.
Oh,
Too
point
late,
of order,
too
point of
late.
order.
I have a question in general, like if I, being new to the planning commission, how does that come up? Dave? I have a question that we just got, one of the permit things, like, am I allowed to, since Kurt's here, like, ask Kurt or somebody else in the planning commission about that, or do I, what's the protocol that, am I allowed to like?
You can ask questions.
You
just
can-
can't make
yeah,
up
other
all
decisions.
person is
Yeah, you
well,
can't make any
like,
decisions.
You're not supposed to
Understand
discuss
all.
and come to a conclusion about the board.
But if I wanna like understand, make sure I'm understanding correctly, am I allowed to just ask questions?
Absolutely,
Oh,
and you can
people in
get
town,
information and you can get education,
But I mean,
With
of
no
other
problem.
board members, is
Yes.
that allowed?
yes.
As long as there's not three of them.
That's probably.
As long as you're not in a.
Actually, you guys have 7
I
members.
just kinda
so
got
it's
paranoid
four.
that about asking, cause I'm
But
not,
you-
I'm new to this.
but if you
We
go
don't
to a
wanna set
party
plans
and they're all
about
there
how
and
you're gonna
You just don't make it, you stay away from it, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't
You
see-
can ask this, I mean, it's one of the reasons I felt like I'd be a good chair, because I've got a pretty good grasp on all these bylaws, and I think I can help
It's
people
knowledge.
understand, just understand what's going on.
And Lisa wants to learn the knowledge, so why
I'm
not?
afraid if
I
I-
mean, I
Why
had to
did
read it, I had to read the things like 10 or 12 times.
I had a
just
question,
to-
I just wanted to reach out to you, but after the last meeting, that had to do with the reading thing, but I'm afraid to ask you because I'm afraid I'm gonna get my head.
So I'm
turned
still a
off.
little confused on that myself up there, I need,
So we are
definitely need some
allowed
more
as individuals to talk
clarification
about it.
from Deb on what's going on.
Okay, I don't wanna overstep anything. with-
And one thing, what is the, I'm not sure where it was at VLTC or if it's just on Vermont, like general Vermont org with the open meeting laws, okay?
Yeah, I
It
did
tells
that
you
course.
all about,
Right, we did do that course, but after that question, I'm just kind of, it made me rethink about who I can talk to.
stick to what they tell you in the meeting, in the open meeting law training, and not what someone else tells you the laws are, because they might not quite be the laws.
And always make sure anything you're documenting is up to date and it's not
Right.
outdated.
So I actually came here one time with a select board, handbook thing, and I said, this is what it says right here, Nancy, and she goes, cause she makes sure there's a period at the end of it. She goes, that says, it was 2004, Mike, here's the new 2016 one.
I know.
But yeah, they update them all the time, but that open meeting law, no one has ever, according to the training I took, they just tell you, don't do it again. It's not like you get sued or anything,
But I'm allowed
you
to,
do your best.
to reach out to Deb and say, hey.
There's a lot of things even
I think
about
you
what,
can-
what's conflict or not. There's even statements in there, like if you feel like you can remove yourself from the conflict, then it's not necessarily even a conflict,
Right.
right? If you can feel
It's
like
the
you can make a
intent.
partial judgment based
Yeah.
on the information, it's not a conflict.
Like tonight, I recused myself from the mowing bid because of my cousin, but I don't have to do that. I just do it because I want, if there was other bidders, I would have definitely, then I would do it. But it's only one bidder anyways, but it just makes it calm. But like you said, I don't have an intent to get him any business, it doesn't matter to me.
I mean, not everything we do is a conflict, not everything we do has to go to a town vote. I mean, we can't have a town vote every month.
That's why they elect boards.
Right, That's why the five of us are sitting up here, and if you don't like it, there's an election again next year.
One thing I like that training today that we took, it tells you, this is a meeting in the public, not for the public. It's not a public meeting,
Right.
it's in the public. Same thing with select board. This is our meeting, we allow a time for people to talk. This board allows people to talk just like we are now, but we don't have to. You've been to school meetings, school meetings 2 minutes, they don't even talk to you, that's it.
You know, it's just for town business, and all it really has to be is for the public, for people here. You don't have to have, you don't have to like that, put it on.
Lisa, the other thing, I feel you can research anything you want.
See ya, Sheila.
That's my opinion because
If
you're
there's
learning, you
anything,
gotta
let me know.
read.
Yeah,
Read.
okay.
And I know when I first started here, I was reading a lot and learning a lot. And somebody says, well, don't read it. I said, well, I wanna be caught up and I'm current and not just because it's always
I
been
mean,
that way.
I mean, if you're over here preaching conflict, that situation got set up in a certain way, like how did 3 people know to vote here? Well, how did 3 people know to vote over here? You must have been doing the same thing, right? You having the same conversations all over. We're in a town of 800 people.
But Nancy, like the thing
We've
is,
all met, right? We all know each other.
Yeah.
I feel like I could.
And I love y'all.
I have all the zoning and
Yeah.
stuff, but like with the reading thing, for example, that's
Really?
a particular thing, so I wanna be able to ask a real person, and I can't necessarily find it in a book if there's a, if it's a specific thing. Maybe try to ask, or whomever, like, how am I supposed to be seeing this?
They're hard to understand.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're not, there's a lot of mumbo jumbo layered talk in there.
Yeah.
And just remember, it takes a unanimous board to remove you and curse on your side.
Is he one of the 3? That's 4.
I didn't vote, I didn't vote.
But Dave, like,
I think it's
I'm
got
sorry
trouble
when I
like
heard
this,
you
yeah.
say that, and we're lucky to have people who wanna get involved and get educated and do the job for this town, because the town, that's the ultimate, is to do the best you feel you're doing for the town, not for ourselves.
Yep.
You know?
A lot of folks will complain, but they won't lift a finger to even try to help.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There are a lot of
yeah, that's
complaints.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
It's crazy.
I mean, I'm in it for the money, but.
I lost money tonight, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Don't
about.
stand you up front.
We've been here 4 hours. Where were you?
Yeah.
Oh, I was busy.
I know, see?
Things going on.
You made a motion.
I seconded it.
Sorry.
Are we out?
Yeah.
All in favor?
We're actually on the
Oh,
topic.
that's right, Lee.
I was gonna say the meetings are going by a little quicker.
Oh, yeah.